Don't forget about love and purpose. Service is the mission, baby. Listen with love, listen with love, listen with love. Talk to your kids, ask them what's up. And listen up with, listen up with, listen up with love. Listen with love, listen with love, listen with love. Kick it with your kids, remember you were one. And listen up with love.
Hello, I'm Cindy Arenberg Seltzer, President and CEO of the Children's Services Council of Broward County. Welcome to another episode of Future First, Focus on Broward's Children. Today's show is dedicated to exploring why water safety matters, especially in Broward County, where water activities are abundant and a part of everyday life. Did you know that Florida consistently ranks among the states with the highest number of drownings each year, particularly among children? In fact, according to recent statistics, drowning is the leading cause of accidental death for children under the age of 5 in Florida. These sobering statistics underscore the urgent need for comprehensive water safety education tailored to children because drowning is preventable. Broward County has robust water safety and drowning prevention initiatives designed to equip children with life-saving skills that will last a lifetime. Let's explore available resources and tips for parents to keep their children safe around water. With us today to do just that is Jay Sanford, Program Project Coordinator Senior at Swim Central, Yushika Brown, founder of Tehran's Little Swimmers, and Latonya Delaughter, Assistant Community Health Director for the Florida Department of Health. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you all so much. This topic just makes me nuts because since I arrived in Broward County 25 years ago, this has been a steady campaign for us to address the issue. And though we've made great strides, it's still, every death is one too many. Latonya, I want to start with you because the Florida Department of Health actually brings people together, as we like to do in Collaboration County, yes, to look at the ways we can work together to address drowning among children. Can you talk a little bit about that effort?
Sure. So through the support of the Children's Services Council, we receive funds to implement a comprehensive drowning prevention and water safety program. That includes a number of initiatives where we are meeting the community where they are, through school, where they play, at pools, in order to infuse drowning prevention and water safety practices to help reduce those rates, specifically in Broward County.
That's wonderful. And I want the viewers to recognize that we are going to be using the term water safety and not swim lessons, because the idea is that they are going to learn to be safe around water, whatever body of water that is, and though swimming is part of it, it's not all of the story. Jay, Swim Central, as I point out, it's not swimming lessons per se, necessarily, is really a more comprehensive look at that water safety.
It is, and so we offer water safety lessons, but we also offer, through the Children's Services Council funding, the ability for parents to get coupons to offset the cost of swimming lessons. So if we talk about water safety lessons versus swimming lessons are traditionally you're learning your strokes, your competitive strokes, you're transitioning from one end of the pool to the other. Water safety lessons is more focused on if a child finds themselves in the water, the ability to get out. So we focus on those early skills, we focus on water competency as well as a comfort in the water, because if you know, if a child's comfortable in the water, they don't panic, they assess the situation, they're able to get themselves either back to the side or in a position where they can be rescued. Because that's really what we are up against down here, is not so much that we don't have swimmers. What we have are children that find themselves in situations that they may not be familiar with, they may not be able to get back out of the water, they may not be able to get to the side of the pool or the side of the lake or wherever they have found themselves. So it's often important that we know the difference and we focus on the difference between water safety and swim lessons.
And I'm happy to say that in the 25 years that Swim Central has been in existence, not one child that has gone through those lessons has drowned.
It's been wildly successful. We've put over 600,000 children through this program. We average around 25 to 30,000 kids a year. The partnerships that we have with the Children's Services Council and the School Board of Broward County actually allows us to get the kids out of the schools, whether they're in Head Start or VPK or kindergarten or first. You guys allow us to do it up through middle school if the school wants to take advantage of it. And what we're able to do is we take those children, we bus them to a nearby pool, because the pools are already there. It's easier to move the kids to the pool than the pool to the kids. And we're able to offer those up to 10 free water safety lessons, again, every year to the children. We get, again, 25,000 kids that have gone through that. We do summer camps, we do the school, and then about 8 or 9 years ago, you and I had sat down, we were at a pool, and we said, how do we get those younger kids? How do we get those under fives? And that's where we came up with the coupon program, where the parents can go on to Water Smart Broward, which is run by the Department of Health. They're able to apply for and receive $40 off swim lesson coupons that they can use at privates, they can use at Publix, or public pools rather.
No water lessons
swimming
at
no
the
swimming
grocery
at the
store.
grocery store. But at the public swimming locations to offset the cost. What people are overstretched. People have so much going on, they're running different ways, and quite frankly, nowadays you got to look at how you're spending your money with the inflation where it is right now. And so anything that we can do through your help at CSC and the Department of Health to offset some of those costs to help people maybe get those kids in swim lessons. Those are swim lessons. What we offer are water safety lessons.
And so with the Department of Health and through our collaboration with the county, with Jay, Swim Central, we actually promote the swim coupon as well as some of our other prevention initiatives. We are actually in schools through our SPUD program, which is our Students Preventing Unintentional Drownings. And so that is dispersed through middle schools and high schools, where we have developed a program. It's teacher-led, but we use the youth empowerment model to develop water safety ambassadors amongst our middle and high school students. And so they are there to implement drowning prevention and water safety tactics throughout their schools and their communities.
Which is a great new initiative, and we're hoping that some of those SPUD ambassadors go on to become lifeguards.
Yes.
Because there is a lifeguard shortage, and we need those children out there using those skills.
Yes, so in addition to the SPUD program and some of our other community outreach efforts, through the support of the Children's Services Council, we have developed a lifeguard scholarship program. So youth between the ages of 15 and 23, so high school students and recent high school graduates, to fill that gap, we've developed this lifeguard and water safety swim instructor program, scholarship program, so that we could fill that need, fill that gap in Broward County, and get some, have the youth get some employability skills. Yes. And serve as lifeguards and water safety swim instructors.
I love those multiple benefits, you know, child earns some money, provides some additional safety in the community.
Right, and it's been pretty well received throughout the county.
Excellent. Yushika, I want to bring you in now. Your story is a sad one, but an important one for our parents of those little children who think, oh no, my child doesn't need water safety lessons. And it's the reason that we created the coupon program. Can you please tell us your story?
Okay, November of 2016, November 19th, it initially happened November 19th of 2016. My family were out of town on a trip in Orlando, and I stayed back home because at the time I was EMT paramedic and going to fire school. So I got a phone call, 11:30, regular day. It was my son. Called me, mommy, I'm having so much fun. I want to get in the pool. And I'm like, it's kind of windy. You know, you don't need to get in the pool. It's a little chilly out. No, it won't be for long. I won't be in the pool long. It'll be fine. They're going to watch me. So I said, just for a little bit. Make sure your Mimo, which is my mom, watch you or your aunties or your cousins. But my oldest son, who's 20 now, he was in the pool with him. He was like 8 or 9 at the time. And I'm sorry, not 8 or 9. Yeah, he was. And he ended up getting out of the pool. But my aunt was supposed to be watching my son. So they were like taking turns, but she thought he initially went inside with my son when he got out, but he didn't. And when they came out, he asked my aunt asked one of my cousins that was in, "Where's Teron?" And he was like, "Oh, he's at the bottom of the pool." And my cousin at the time, he's autistic, but he's a smart autistic child. And he was like, "Oh, he's at the bottom of the pool. He was trying to get his toy." And, you know, they pulled him out. They called me. That was at 12 o'clock. I received a phone call of all this commotion, screaming, you know, crying in the background. And then I hear the paramedics in the back. And I was like, save my baby. Like, whatever y'all do, save my baby. And at the time, I was 6 months pregnant.
Oh, my God.
I was 6 months pregnant. I initially, once I hung up with my mom, they said they was taking him to the hospital. So I initially called my aunt and I said, I need you to drive me to Orlando, like right now. I'm driving to your house and we need to get on the road right now. She said, okay, come on. That was 12:15. We arrived at 2 o'clock in Orlando. And at that time, they initially took him to one hospital, but they didn't have the proper equipment to, you know, treat him. So then they had to airlift him to Nemours Children's Hospital, where as soon as I pulled in the parking lot, he was landing. So they hooked him up to all the machines, did every test, you know, they could, because he was responsive the first day. And then the second day, like, it declined as the days went. So he was on a ventilator for 4 days. So the 22nd, I was left with, you know, of him being in a vegetative state or, you know, pulling the plug, taking him off life support. And it was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make. And I don't wish that on any parent.
Oh my God.
Any parent, because your children are supposed to bury you. You're not supposed to bury your children, and it's so important to get swimming lessons for these kids. My oldest son, I was able to get it for him because I wasn't consumed with doing, you know, everything. It was just him. So he had the swimming lessons, the proper, you know, the safety and all that. He had that stuff, but I wasn't able to do it with him. But my last two, they taught themselves. They taught themselves. They're like little fish now. But yeah, I really regret not getting him the lessons. But, you know, I'm able to make up for that with my other two. And that's why I founded Teron's Little Swimmers in honor of him. It's a nonprofit to get, you know, kids in the community, you know, free lessons that parents, like you guys said, can't afford it. Mm-hmm. You know, you have the coupons. So I need to know how I can get with you two to get my organization going, you know, so that we can, because Florida is what, 71% of made of water?
Yeah, so here in Broward County, just in Broward County by itself, standing water in incorporated Broward County, 29% of incorporated Broward County, not even counting the Everglades, is under standing water at any time, right? So every child lives near water. I had once asked our mapping folks, I said, show me the driest place in Broward County.
And they're so curious.
And they said, we can't. You know, there's nowhere that's the driest place. You put on top of that 130,000 backyard pools, which, as you know, Cindy, don't have to have fences around them after they're given. And then you have the community pools, and you have, I mean, just the ocean and everything else. And so often what happens, and unfortunately in this case too, is somebody thinks somebody else is doing it. So we've always talked about the Water Watcher program. We do the Water Watcher tags where what we ask is that the person who is in charge has that tag on, and they wear it, and it's a physical reminder that they are to be watching the child. And then if they get up and they go, they have to hand that tag off, and it's a physical reminder to the next person to be watching that child. We see this on more than one. We see this far too often. And again, now we have the coupons, because for the first 16 years of Swim Central, we just did the schools. And the schools, it's a great program. We're able to take the kids and we're able to get them those water safety lessons during the school day, which is huge because it takes that away, that burden away from the parents. We have good instructors. We can always use more, especially now post-pandemic. But we have great instructors. We have lifeguards on staff. The kids are safe while they're learning these skills. And the parents really need to take advantage of it. And if the schools, if you're in a school that's not taking advantage of it, you need to raise your hand in that PTA meeting and say, why are we not doing this? Because drowning is universal. It's not one community that drowns. Every community is affected by this. But again, the coupons allow us to hopefully get those younger kids in, hopefully get that opportunity. And when we were shut down because of the pandemic, you had made the decision to push the coupons age up. And we've seen older kids and their parents taking advantage of that, because it can't just be a one and done. Swim lessons are not a one and done.
So this had been, I want our viewers to recognize that in Broward County, the collaboration to prevent this for the last 25 years has been robust. And we keep looking at, well, where are the places that children are drowning? And initially, when Swim Central started, there were school-age children that were drowning. And so the decision was made for the school district and the county, and CSC didn't exist then. We jumped on board as soon as we were created to work together to take those young children, kindergarten, first and second grade, and get them to the pools and teach them those water safety lessons. And that has been very successful. Although I do want to encourage parents to please sign those permission slips. The money is there, it costs you nothing. They are safe, as Jay just explained. They really take good care of your children, and it is effective, but you have to sign the permission slip to allow them to take those lessons. We also then looked at where are those other places. Then it was children whose families were involved in the child welfare system. And so we trained all of our family strengthening programs that the CSC funds and the protective investigators that when they go out, they should look for pools and water safety. And if they didn't have lessons, they should recommend lessons. If they don't see the barriers, because those are the other things, barriers around the pool, if you can install it if it's not already there. Jay's absolutely right. Those older homes with pools didn't have to have them. And so they don't exist. But you can install them later. There's nothing that says you can't.
And at the Department of Health, we do institute a train the trainer program with our child protective investigators and any staff of family strengthening agencies, so that they can take a look around when they're called out to a home, and we actually give them the door alarms. So if the door alarms, they find that there's a body of water nearby, which Jay just said, like that's almost everywhere. So we equip them with the door alarms and the education so they can educate the family, one, about water safety practices and the barriers that they should have or they can have. And then we also equip them with the door alarms so that they can install them or give it to the family and instruct them on how to install that. And so they receive a robust training before we hand over those door alarms through that Train the Trainer program.
So a few years ago, we were looking at it. Is there something that can be done that can eliminate this altogether? And what we found was no. There's not one thing that can be done. And so we came up with a high five for water safety. If you remember, we were doing that. And the first one is supervision. Know where your child is. And if for some reason you don't know where your child is and you know that there's water nearby, you go and you look at the water first. Work your way back. Because if you find your child in the laundry room with a marker writing on the wall, it's okay. You know, it may seem like it's a big deal, but it's really not a big deal. And then you get the door alarms or the door charms.
But the reverse is if you don't check that water first
and
then
your
you're going
and your
in the
child
water,
is there,
it's a
that
greater
is
chance.
catastrophic.
because
Yes.
time is critical.
Right,
Yes.
so that
Getting your
very
child in.
first thing has to be check the water.
Water first.
And even if you don't have a pool, if there's a lake nearby, if
Right.
there's a bucket of water nearby, if there's a bathtub,
Yeah.
Right.
look at all of those places with water. Sorry, Jay, but
No, that's okay.
Yes.
I've been hammering you for years on this, and I can honestly say you've got it down pat. And but after the supervision, we talk about the door alarms. We talk about, and all a door alarm is going to let you know is if somebody opened the door, right? And so if you hear that chime, get up and figure out what made that chime.
Right.
You may think you know, but you don't know. So go and check it. And then we talk about barriers. We talk about the fences that don't exist, or the fence that was there the day you opened your pool and you took it out because you didn't know way, you know. Keep those fences up. Your chances are you're not using your pool every day. So if you have one of those fences, keep it up. It's not going to prevent totally your child from getting in the water, but it may just slow them down enough so that you can go and get them before they get in the water.
And if you live in an apartment complex that has a pool, and there's a fence around that pool, and you may see that it's broken,
Report it.
make sure that you check, and do not rest until that fence is fixed.
And if you see somebody who's propping it open, tell them, no, we need this closed. There are self-latching, self-closing gates on all of these apartment pools. They need to be that. They need to be that self-closing, self-latching. The fourth thing that we talk about after supervision, alarms, and barriers is swim lessons or water safety lessons. We have a great initiative here that's funded by the Children's Services Council. Take advantage of it. Get your kids in the water and get them so that they're comfortable so they can rescue themselves. And then the fifth thing, is CPR. Because if you know CPR and a tragedy does happen, if you can get that child out of the water and you can start effective CPR as quickly as possible, you're going to raise the chance for that child to make a recovery.
Survival, yeah.
And sometimes it's a full recovery. And so we talk about the 5 things and the high five, and there is not that one thing that we can do. We do a lot down here.
Right.
I mean, the CSC has funded Swim Central for years. We've got the Department of Health. We've got the website. You can go onto the website, not just to get a coupon. And again, the website's watersmartbroward.org. But you can not only get a coupon, but there's resources there. There's checklists for you to look at so that you can look over your home and go, holy mackerel, I never thought of that. Maybe I do need to make that adjustment. Maybe I do need to change how we're looking at this. Because as any of us that have raised kids know, that child that couldn't open the door yesterday is out the door today. Even your older kids. I mean, how many of us have opened a top cabinet in the kitchen that was fine, and seemed like the next day you open it up and you hit your kid in the head with it, and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
So.
And you think that the babies can't learn. And there was at one point a recommendation that they not be exposed to the water, or that water safety lessons don't work, but they do. From 6 months to 5 years, if they can just learn to lie on their back, they can breathe if they're lying on their back until somebody
Their
sees
little
them.
brains are like sponges, so they soak all that information up.
Yes, your little fish, now your little fishes, they know.
We spend all this time teaching kids not to walk across the street, right? Don't go across the street without mom or dad. But we are not spending the time saying, don't go near the water without mom and dad. You know, how many times have you walked up to a curb to cross the street and suddenly your child's holding your hand? Why? Because they were always taught, hold your hand when you walk across the street.
And I would be remiss in this last minute if we didn't mention the children with special needs.
Absolutely.
That they can be accommodated. They are very attracted to water.
Right.
They
And
are.
so we do have lessons for children with
We
special
do,
needs.
and the children on the spectrum are 180 times more likely to drown than a neurotypical developing child. That's 180 times more. So if you are faced with, you have a child on the spectrum and they've been identified, get the resources. The resources are there. Get your children in water. It's a different type of lesson sometimes. It's a bit slower pace sometimes. It's a bit more structured sometimes. But those children are going to be attracted to water, and if you can work them and you can get them comfortable in the water, you're going to save their lives.
In our last minute, any final thoughts, ladies?
I did want to mention that we have started water smart communities, Water Smart Communities initiative where out of the 32 municipalities, we're going out and we're asking them to apply for a water smart community designation. So there's a tiered system through a set criteria. So it's a bronze, silver, gold, and any municipality, they have the opportunity to apply through the Water Smart Broward website to become a Water Smart community.
And when they become that community, they're making a commitment to keep what are they committing to do?
So they're making a commitment to participate in a number of things. So either promote water safety initiatives, participate in water safety initiatives like host events, offer swim lessons year-round. So there are a number of criteria, enforce the pool fence code. So there's a number of criteria that they are required to meet in order to receive the designation, and depending on what criteria they meet, that'll determine the level.
So make sure that your city is applying to become a water smart city and get your children signed up for those lessons. We don't want you to have a similar story to Yushika.
Right.
Keep your children safe. Thank you to Jay Sanford, Yushika Brown, and Latonya Delaughter for an inspiring conversation and so important for every parent to be aware of. I've been your host, Cindy Arenberg Seltzer. For this or any other episode of Future First, focus on Broward's children, go to our website, cscbroward.org, where you can access our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and remember to join us next time on Future First, focus on Broward's children.